Change in Color is inclusion, diversity in faces, cultures, and stories. A break from the traditional narrative in media we see every day. I'm India Johnson. Join me as we highlight the beauty and the struggle. Change in Color.
My name is Alberto Moreno. I am a Spanish Community and Culture major, double minoring in Chicana, Chicano studies, and labor and workplace studies. This is my third year as a transfer student here at UCLA. What made me choose that major was I took my first ever Spanish class and I just was blown away by it. The class did not only focus on the language component of it, but politics and foreign policy and how foreign policy, particularly from the US, has impacted Latin America on so many levels. So mixed status family is a family where a member is undocumented, right? And in that case, my family is a mixed status family. In the context of, my parents came here as immigrants from Mexico. I am one of 5 of their children. We're all US citizens. So my parents were undocumented for a while. My father was able to acquire his permanent residence back in 1986. And my mom was able to acquire her permanent residence about 25 years later. Even today, despite them having, being permanent residents, we are still considered a mixed status family, again, because being a permanent resident does not really free them from, being deported. So with mixed status families, we always have this uncertainty of who the person who is undocumented, if he or she is going to be deported. So in the case of my family, we were always in this constant fear, right? Going to school, coming back from school, and receiving the news that our parents have been deported, and just the psychological effects of having to plan ahead of time. If this were to happen, if my parents were to be deported, what's next? Where do we go? Who do we go to? Who's going to take care of us? Who's going to provide for us? So aside from the physical, emotional effects of family separation, we also have those psychological effects as well. Being a first-generation college student has been quite a journey and a challenge. I started my academic career at Long Beach City College back in 2010. It took me 5 years to transfer out and come here to UCLA. So I started UCLA in fall of 2015. Fast forward 8 years, it took me 8 years to get my BA, but it's all about resiliency. As a first gen, it was hard for me to navigate the community college system, finding out the resources and the right support system to remind me that I am capable, that I do have potential as a person of color to reach higher education. For me, coming from a Latinx family, family is very important to us. We're very united, and my mother's dream has always been to have one of her kids graduate high school and pursue higher education. So for me, getting a college degree is not only something that is going to benefit me, but also my parents, my family, and my community, and the generations coming after me. I always think about my parents. I think about the sacrifices that they made when they crossed the border. They left everything behind, their language, their culture, their home, their family, just for us, right? They were already thinking about their family without, us being in the picture just yet. But also thinking about my nieces and nephews, right? I have 2 nieces, 2 nephews who are in elementary school now, and I think about them and their future, and I want to serve as a role model, function as a role model for them. And there was this time where my sister informed me that Jaylene, who is my 10-year-old niece, was asked by her teacher, what is it that you want to do when you grow up? And her response to her was, I want to be like my Uncle Beto. So she replied, what is it that what does he dedicate himself to? She said, I don't know, but he's in college, he goes to UCLA, he wants to be an immigration lawyer, he's always busy, he's so active on campus and in the community, I just want to be like him. So that already shows me and tells me that I'm already creating this huge impact in the little ones who are coming after me. A role model in our communities to let them know that we're not intellectually inferior, we're not what society labels us, we're much more than that. As a transfer student, we're often seen as not competitive, not smart enough, an easy way into UCLA, but they tend to forget how we got here. I had to rely a lot on counselors, EOP&S, professors, support system, being involved on campus. I was working full-time, I was going to school full-time, but there's always a stigma, and I didn't really see it until I transferred into UCLA, being in that classroom, being one of 2 Latino students in a classroom of like 100 students, and really experiencing imposter syndrome at every level. Getting involved with CLA, which stands for Coalition for Latino Advancement, which is also a support group for undocumented students at Long Beach City College. I found my true passion of fighting for social justice, fighting for immigrant rights, standing up for those who don't have a voice.